Alex Hormozi, is a very impressive entrepreneur. He actually founded acquisition.com and manages over $200 million in his portfolio. He has invested in dozens of businesses and turned them profitable. And he says the number one issue he sees in service businesses is that owners work the entire month, then they look at their bank account and realize there's nothing there. They literally worked for free. I have a few decades worth of experience in the industry, and this young guy, Alex, definitely knows his stuff. So today, I'm breaking down exactly how Alex would make you more money in your service business. Let's notice this clip from Alex's YouTube channel.
But the gross margin is the one that begets, that creates the net margin. And this is the one where I always focus, and this is the thing that I fix, and this is what I help people fix, and this is the game, all right? So, my revenue minus cost. So let's say we're selling a service for $60, per hour. That's what let's just say, you're a hairstylist or you're a trainer, doesn't matter, right? You're selling $60, right, in your business. And your cost of goods sold, let's say, is $20, right? You're paying somebody $20 for the $60 thing. You're like, that sounds good. There's $40 left over for me. This makes sense, right? Wrong, all right? And I'll get to why in a second and what number I use. But let's just do this so you can understand what the gross margin is here. So the gross margin on this, and that's assuming we're not using any product to work on this if you were like a hairstylist, for example. But let's just say simply here, $60 is what you're charging, $20 is what it costs, and $40 is left over, right? Now, what you do to figure out your margin is you take that $40, right? What's left over, divided by the $60 of revenue, which is what you got gross. And what that does is it gets 66%. That's the gross margin. You'd be like, oh, that sounds reasonable. That's not that much, that's not that bad. The thing is each incremental gross margin point is enormous. And so let me show you the difference. So let's say at the end of the year, you're running a business that runs on 66% gross margins. And let's say at the very end of the year, now we're in the net margin category, you end up with 12% margins, all right? Now, most brick and mortar businesses run around there. Crazy, right? But that's what most brick and mortar businesses run around. So if you're at 12% margins and I say, listen, you gotta be at 80, people are like, well, 80 and 66 is not that different. If you bumped your margins to 80%, what happens at the end of the year? That's 14, all right? So what that does is you now have 26% net margins at the end of the year. We more than doubled, we 2.2x'd how much you make. So do you think this is important? Can I double how much you make simply by changing this one number? Yes. All right. So let's use the 80% example, which.
So Hormozi just said that improving your gross margin from 66% to 80% literally doubles your profit. That's exciting. But the problem is that most contractors have no idea what their gross margin is on each job. Let me show you how you can see this automatically. I'm going to share my screen and we'll look at a test account and we will review some numbers on a job. So here we can see we're at the dashboard. I'm going to go to a simple job under work orders. We'll look at job 84. And as we look at this work order, we can see basic information, but what we want to look at is the numbers. So under other actions, we have this option cost analysis. This is the numbers. Now, if we look at this, we can see we have our retail. In other words, how we estimated the job, materials and labor and our total. We can come down and we can see our total flows through. We'll talk about change orders later, but notice our cost basis. Based on that estimate, I'm expecting to spend $2,000 in material, close to $500 in labor, and we have our total. But at the bottom, we see our numbers that really matter. We're at 49% gross margin. This is what Hormozi means. If you don't know this number per job, you are flying blind. You're hoping you're profitable, but SolvePro solves this problem for you. It does the math instantly. Most owners wait until tax season to realize they bled cash all year. This shows you the math, job by job, and that's the difference with SolvePro. Let's look at the second clip that Hormozi gave us. Notice what he asked us to look at, the formula that can help us be successful.
If 80% gross margin is what I need, there's two ways I can do it. One, I can decrease this cost, right? I could say that I get this to $12, right? This becomes $12, so cross that out. And now my new take home on this is $48, right? And so $48 over 60 equals 80%. So one way you can increase your margin is decreasing your cost, gross margin, the cost of actually doing the thing, right? The second way is by increasing how much you charge this guy, right? And so let's say instead of 60 and we have this 20, so how do we get 80% left over if we have a $20 cost? Well, it's easy with this number because 20 is 20%, right? And so that means that you'd have to charge $100 for your $20 thing to have an 80% margin. And so way number one, you decrease the cost of fulfilling the thing. Way number two, you increase the price, right?
So Hormozi gave us the formula. It's simple. You either cut costs or raise prices. But how do you know which one to do? Bottom line, you need the data. Now let me show you how to track both. Again, in SolvePro, let's focus first on labor, then we'll look at costs and how we can track these easily in our system. On the left-hand side, we're going to go down to operations and users. Now for every user in the system, every user you're going to quote labor on, simply click on their profile and you can see that we have a billable rate. That's the retail of what we would charge a customer. And we have the cost. That's what we would pay the employee. It's easy for us to set this by employee. And then everywhere we use this employee on a quote or on actual labor, these numbers are used instantly. It will do the math for us. What about products? Well, let's look at our products. So we'll go to products and services. And let's just look at roofing, for example. So we can see here we have roofing shingles. We take a look at it, we can see my sale price is $139. My cost is $79. So what that means is I'm going to pay $79 to buy a square of roofing, and I'm going to sell it to my customer for $139. Everywhere I use this on a quote, boom, SolvePro will do the math for us. Simple and easy to maintain both labor costs and product costs. Simple approach in order to build those profiles. SolvePro shows you this while the job is happening. You can adjust future quotes. You can talk to your crew about being more efficient, or you can raise prices. Bottom line is you're not guessing anymore. This harmonizes with Hormozi's two levers: decrease costs or increase price. But you can't pull either lever if you don't know the numbers. Hormozi said it best. You need the math. SolvePro gives you the math automatically so that you're not doing spreadsheets at midnight. You're not calculating it in your head. You just click one button. Is it 20%? That's a 25% increase in profit. You're able to change these on the fly very easily. Let's notice another principle that Hormozi helps us to gain in how to have a successful business.
You've got the type of business where one person fulfills for many people because you're like, I don't know what my cost would be. So I actually had this example not that long ago. I was at a mastermind and a guy said he's got coaches and they coach people, right? And so I said, well, what are your gross margins? And he's like, I have no idea. And I was like, well, let's walk through it together. So he was paying his coach $4,000 a month. All right. That's what he was paying his coach. And I said, cool. How many clients can your coach handle? He said, well, my coach can handle 40 people. All right. 40 clients. And I was like, okay. What do you charge your clients per month? He said, well, I sell packages. And I was like, all right. Well, what do your packages cost? He's like, they're $1,200 packages. I was like, okay, what does $1,200 get me? He said, it gets you 3 months. I'm going to give you a real world example here. So hopefully you guys dig this. All right. Which means that it's $400 per month if you spread it out. Right. So he's got 40 clients, $400 a month is what they're charging. All right. Which means 40 times 400, hopefully my math is right here, is 160,000. Hopefully. Am I messing something up here? I think it's 160,000, isn't it? 0, 4 times 4,000. No, 16,000. I was like, whoa. Is $16,000 per month, right? That's cool, right? That's neat. So $16,000 per month, and the cost of the coach was $4,000, right? Everyone following with me? So it means that there's $12,000 left over. So that's what's left over after the cost. And then we're just dividing it by the total revenue, right? Which is this guy. You just bring it back down. So it's just 12 divided by 16, right? which in this instance would be 75%. So he's close to 80, but he's like, well, I don't want to change anything because I'm already at 75. But remember, at the end of the year, let's say you've got 15% margins, right? Let's just say at the end of the year, you got 15%. Bumping the extra 5 takes you to 20, right? And you're like, oh, wow, that doesn't seem like a big difference. 15 to 20% net margins at the end of the year is a 25% increase in how much money you make. That is how important this is. And so, anyways, so what do he need to do? He either has to pay this guy less or he's got to charge more money a year. And so the way to figure this out backwards, if you wanted to, if you did want to change your price to get it over 80%, then you simply basically increase what this number needs to be until it's 80%. So, it's 1.6 times 8, whatever that is. 8, and then, it's 12.8. Yeah. So that would mean that he has to get to 12,800 if he wanted to get over 80%, which means he either needs to charge the extra 40 clients an extra $20. Yeah. He would need to charge an extra $20 here, right? Per month. Or he could pay this coach $3,200 per month. And that is how he would get from 75 to 80%.
That guy at Mastermind had no idea what his margins were until Hormozi did the math for him. Bottom line is, don't be that guy. Let me show you how everything connects so you're never flying blind. Let's look at the numbers, the labor, what you actually pay, the materials, what you actually spend, your operating costs, which is your overhead, insurance, etc., gas, in order to come up with the gross margin. Let's take a look at our screen again, and we'll follow an example through from building the estimate and seeing these numbers play out in real time. We're going to go over to work orders, and I want to add a new work order, and we're going to pick a customer. We'll just say Abel. It'll be Mike Abel. And we have a new work order that we're going to start adding product and labor to in order to estimate it. We're going to say it's due on receipt, and the work description is, let's build a doghouse. Actually, no, let's do pavers. Now, let's start with items here. So we can see our items. I don't have any. I want to add some pavers in. So we're going to do a paver walkway installation, and we're going to actually add some actual pavers. And let's add some quantity. So it's going to be our retail price of $80.75, and I want 10 of those. So that does the math for us. And we have one installation. That's all the kits related to it. Now let's save this work order. It's number 87. And let's just on labor alone look at our cost analysis. So we can see here our materials. We have $953 in materials. That's what we're estimating. For the retail side, our cost basis for that is $407. Now, we've added an 18% operating cost because I know I need to add that for every job automatically, which covers insurance, gas, licensing, etc., which brings our total cost for this job to $480. Now, this is estimated based on what I know I'm paying for those materials, which gives me a gross profit of $472, 50%. Simple math, done for me, easy to see. But let's go and modify this work order a bit. We're doing this paver path, and we know that, hey, we want to add a boulder because we want this path to kind of wind around a boulder, and this is a big boulder, so we're going to say it's going to cost us $450. So we can see our costs instantly went up to $1,403. Let's take a look at the cost analysis now. So now we take a look at this. We've added material. Our operating cost stays the same. Our total cost, it's going to cost us $480 to do the job, and it's $922. But why is it only costing $480? That's the same number we had last time. Let's explore the numbers. So let's go to our product and look at our boulder. And And we can see on this boulder, I have a sell price of $109, but I don't have any purchasing data. What's that going to cost me? Well, if I'm selling it for $109, I'm going to say it's going to cost me $75. I'm going to hit save. Now, if we go back to our work order, we can see this boulder is one. We're going to sell it for $500. I'm going to hit save. And let's look at our cost analysis. So now our cost has gone up by that $75. You see, the point of this is when I enter my cost and what I sell it for, now we have the numbers to do the math. And we're at a 61%. But I have no labor on here. So let's close this and edit the work order. And we know that we have labor. So let's estimate our labor. And we're going to estimate it by crew. It's going to take the north crew 10 hours to do this job. Well, notice it automatically estimated the labor for that crew, $1,150. Let's hit save. And now if we go look at our cost analysis, we can see that we've added labor into the mix and we're getting close to our profit margin just by adding the numbers where they need to go. Now, the nice thing here is that we don't have any actual costs yet because labor hasn't come in. But once labor is reported, then this is going to start showing a different story based on actual cost. But again, the purpose of this is you have to know the numbers. The guy at Mastermind didn't know the numbers. He was guessing. Again, don't be that guy. Hormozi says that most service businesses hit a wall because they don't track anything. They scale chaos, not systems. And that's 100% true. I mean, that happens when you're not tracking your numbers. You hire more people, you take on bigger jobs, you buy more trucks, but profits stay flat or drop because you don't know which jobs actually make you money. You're just busy. But busy does not mean profitable. What you just saw is exactly how you avoid all of that. And you know your costs before you quote. You track labor while the job's actually happening. You see your margins the second the job wraps. You're not sitting there at the end of the month realizing you basically worked for free. If you want to track margins like Hormozi just laid out, you need one system that does it all for you. If you would like to see how SolvePro can help you in that direction, we're actually offering a 30-day free trial. No credit card required, so you can test it on your own business before you make any decision. So you literally have no risk. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you for watching this video. And if you will, subscribe to the channel if you want more walkthroughs like these that help you make more money. And I'll see you in the next video.